something that's just done out of like ESG budgets and marketing budgets into something that is profitable, into something that has incentive mechanisms, into something that can really grow to be as large as it needs to be in order to address the scale of the problems that we're facing. The way that we think about it is, can we create a flywheel effect so that every time you try to do an impact initiative, you don't have to put fresh money in? Wouldn't it be amazing if you could earn profits on your impact initiatives to then fund your next round of impact and just kind of grow that virtuous cycle? And that's really what Topl is all about, and that's what we're going to be brainstorming a little bit on today. So $270 billion, why do we have this perspective? That $270 billion feels like a really big number. That is the total value as of, I think like last month or something like that, of all carbon credits in the world. Again, $270 billion feels like a huge, super exciting number. We've got to be really, really close. No, that's a tiny number. $270 billion would put us, out here, actually, where around like where cryptocurrency, different coin market caps are. If we think of global equities, if we think of debt, if we think of commodities, we're off by orders and orders of magnitude. And this is the size that we're going to need to get to if we're able to successfully solve the climate crisis. So it's about scale, it's about incentivizing people to be able to go further. And for us, it's not only about saying, hey, can we increase the size of the carbon markets, but what we're going to be talking about today are what other markets can we be thinking about? There's a lot beyond carbon, and there's a lot of amazing people that we've had a chance to talk to already today that are thinking about tokenizing or productizing all sorts of different biodiversity or parts of the water cycle or just all these other environmental areas beyond carbon. But we neglect those, we don't have markets for those, and we just kind of like relegate them to the world of co-benefits. And they're just kind of off to the side, they're not that important. We think they're very important, and we think blockchain can really enable a transformation there. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be thinking bigger. We're going to be thinking bigger both in terms of carbon markets and incentives there, but we're also going to be thinking bigger in terms of what else can we tokenize, what else can we incentivize, what else can we create markets around. And that's what we have these, these 4 different questions to think about. Thinking bigger, thinking more markets focused, and we're going to invite everyone here in a moment to be able to break out, and we've just got 4 corners of the room kind of separated out for everyone around these 4 questions. The first one being, how can the Web3 space and Web3 technologies be utilized to increase access to carbon credits, tokenized impact? Because I don't know about the rest of you, but the primary way I know of to access carbon credits is I can offset my flight when I book an airline ticket. And really, everything else is really, really hard, not very accessible for retail and consumers, even if we might really be interested in that. So how can we increase access? The second question is, how can blockchain technology be used to enable participation on the other side? It's great when everyone comes together and say like, hey, we have solutions, hey, we want to help. It's really important to understand local context, really understand, those people that are most on the ground affected by, these projects and what's happening. So how can we increase participation? How can we increase the potential for decision-making on the ground in local communities, especially in the global south? Third question, what is some of the supporting evidence? What are some of the claims? What's some of the data that we might need to tokenize positive impact beyond carbon? There's all sorts of wonderful carbon methodologies, but the methodologies and the data that we want or need for other areas of impact, very, very nascent. So probably a lot of thought and a lot of discovery that can be there. And the final question, and apologies, this one is really, really long. But in carbon, we have this idea that's pretty easy to wrap our heads around, right? We have outcomes of projects and we have outputs. And it's very easy to conflate those things together, but it's important to keep them separate. If we think of an output, that's like the most immediate tangible result of a project. So in reforestation work, the output would be the trees planted. And then you'd have a primary outcome of carbon being captured and a secondary outcome of global warming being avoided. How can we think about how blockchain technology and tokenization can make those relationships and those cycles more clear? Can we tokenize output separately from outcomes? Do we do it together? Do we link them via smart contracts? What sort of exciting mechanisms can we come up with around that particular idea and dichotomy between outputs and outcomes? So those are the 4 different questions, just based on your own experience, your own projects that you might be and hopefully are working on in the space. We have facilitators for all of them, and then we're going to maybe try to find some time at the end to come together, share thoughts. We were running around picking up big pieces of paper so we can write down and share everything. But those are the 4 questions, and this is what we're going to be chatting about over the next 30, 35 minutes. So I will let you get to it. If Topl members can just hold up their hands with the different numbers. So 1 is over here, 2, 3, 4. All right, everyone, go nuts. Thanks for being here.